There's been a tweet as well while you were watching that from Nigel Farage, who of course has been in discussions with the President. He's been at Wimfield House in the last hour, and this is the tweet. Good meeting with President Trump. He really believes in Brexit and he is loving his trip to London. I'm joined here by Ben Harris-Quinney, the chairman of the Conservative think tank, the Bow Group, who is also staying out of the water, we hope. Nice to see you. Just about. Do you know, when I watched that press conference, I sensed there was a sort of a warmer relationship between him and Theresa May. I don't think it's been the easiest relationship along the way, but it was certainly warmer than the press conference we got at Chequers last year.
No, I think he recognises what a lot of people do, which is that Theresa May's had a very tough job, and you know, obviously she's come to the end of her tether and hasn't managed to achieve what she set out to achieve. But I think it's right that he commends her on trying, but I also think he was right to say that she probably wasn't the best person to negotiate our exit from the European Union.
We'll talk about the leadership contenders in a second, but I want to come to the trade deal. And this issue of the NHS, we've heard from Emily Thornberry in the last hour about her concerns that it might lead to privatisation of the NHS. But on the flip side, there could be opportunities in terms of drug prices.
Well, I think if this is going to be part of a trade deal, it has to be a plus, not a minus. It was actually Labour that introduced a lot of the PFI mini privatisation schemes of the NHS.
Well, it was John Major that started it, but Labour
rolled it out. So, you know, there are elements of the NHS that are privatised, but I don't think the British public want to see the whole NHS privatised and sold off to Americans. I think Trump was just taking a negotiation position, which he loves to do, and I very much doubt if a future Prime Minister would privatise the NHS to the Americans. So I think it's an interesting talking point, but I don't think there's much in it.
But it would be... I mean, obviously, he's going to drive a hard bargain, and that's the concern, that they're very much the big brother. But Liam Fox was making the point earlier today that in other similar deals between Canada and the EU, Japan and the EU, there are opt-outs, there are provisions on things that are under government control.
Yeah, the problem we have at the moment is Theresa May made the point when Trump had answered the question that, well, a British Prime Minister would want to put their own yeas and nays into any agreement. The problem is we don't have one, because Theresa May is effectively a lame duck. She's leaving in a matter of days. And so it's going to be for the new Prime Minister to dictate what their no-go areas are on a deal with the US, a trade deal. And I very much doubt that any British Prime Minister would say, yep, the NHS is open for grabs. Labour will want to put that idea out there, but it's certainly not the one that I see as likely.
Interesting that he spent some time, or will spend some time this evening, with Michael Gove, who is, of course, one of the front runners in the leadership contest. Is that an advantage to Michael Gove, to get an endorsement of the President?
It's debatable. I think among the grassroots of the Conservative Party it's an advantage. Whether it's an advantage in Parliament is a different matter. But I think most people are mature enough to recognise, whether they like Donald Trump or not, if we are leaving the European Union, and that's what the British people want, then a trade deal with the United States is going to be very important, and therefore a good relationship with the United States is going to be probably more important than it's been in recent years. So I think Trump is doing the right thing to reach out to potential leadership candidates, and I would hope that they would reciprocate. Boris Johnson has made a few off-colour remarks about Trump in the past, and he obviously sort of snubbed him for a meeting today. So it'll be interesting to see what they all have to say about Trump, considering he's made a significant contribution to the debate so far.
Boris Johnson's team say they're in hustings tonight with the One Nation Conservatives in the House, so they don't have time to meet him, but by the by, he hasn't...
Well, he's quite important. I mean, he's the President of the United States, so you might change your schedule, but, you know, that was Boris's decision.
Are you happy, though, that the President singled out the three candidates that he has, or would you have liked him to single out some of the others from a Conservative perspective?
Well, I think candidates like Esther McVey are probably more values-aligned to Trump. But as I say, I think what Trump is trying to work out with this trip is he's acknowledged that Theresa May is on her way out. He's thanked her for her service, both to the United Kingdom and to the United States, in working on the preliminary trade deal. But now he wants to know who's going to take over. And so he's doing the right thing, I think, from a US point of view, to reaching out to who the potential candidates are and seeing if he can build a relationship there to take us forward over the next few years.
There's been a rule change this evening within the 1922 committee to speed up the process. James Cleverly pulled out earlier today. I'm just seeing that Kit Malthouse, who was another of the candidates, has decided to withdraw. He says, thank you to all those who've supported me, but I've decided to withdraw from the contest for the leadership. Do you think the rule change is going to sort out the wheat from the chaff, for want of a better description. I don't say he's the chaff, but certainly he didn't have the backing that the three candidates we just discussed.
No, well, I think it's a great shame that the Conservative Party is actually one of the least democratic organisations, certainly political organisations in the country. And I think most of the public who don't understand the minutiae and the ins and outs of how the Conservative Party works are not quite sure how 300 people effectively get to decide who the future Prime Minister is going to be. And I think the process so far has been too Westminster focused and not enough public focused. And the reforms that are being put forward seem to make it more Westminster focus, as they would, because it's being voted on by members of Parliament. But I think that any candidate needs to very quickly get out there to the public and make a pitch as to why they want to be Prime Minister.
OK, Ben Harris-Quinney, very grateful for your time and your thoughts this evening. So